There were two different versions of this drawing. I always go in and just thumbnail things a little bit to figure out where I want to go with the color palette. Luckily, I had a saved version of the sketch, so it made redrawing this very easy. Okay, I guess I'll start the video now. The first step is cleaning up the sketch, which is honestly my favorite part because I feel like I have more of a sculpting process when it comes to art. A lot of artists have this where you draw something and it may be messy and then you go in to refine it later and it comes out with a really distinct and sharp look, and I really like it. I want to say I consider myself new to digital art, but it's not really that. It's more so I only recently have been satisfied with my digital art. Before, I feel like I was trying to copy other people's style of digital art, and I would watch tutorials and stuff like that to try to get it, but it really wasn't clicking. So after a lot of trial and error and trying different, just drawing really, I kind of felt like I got a digital style that's my own now. The next step is skin rendering, which I feel takes the longest because all of my characters blush proficiently for no reason. You won't find a single piece of my art where the character is not blushing. I don't know where I get this from. It's probably the old Tokyo Mew Mew manga, but it doesn't matter because it looks cute. The blend tool is my best friend, and after I'm done blending out like the 7 layers of blush I put on, then it's time for me to go into lighting. This part is really fun for me because I like putting on random colors even if they don't make sense because I like looking at contrast. I usually go in with purple and yellow because I like complementary colors and the contrast they make is really good. I use multiply to deepen and blend out the purple, and then I use add to make the yellow really bright and shiny. This part takes the longest and I like it, but it also gets on my nerves because I'm just addicted to colors. They're so shiny. And I spend like 5 hours just changing them. Once I'm done adding all the lighting and highlights and shadows and stuff, I always lower the opacity because I feel like it just looks better and softer. This takes so long. I just sit there with the blend tool going ham. The skin definitely takes up majority of the time, but after I'm done with that, I move on to the best part of the drawing process, which is hair. Before anybody comes for me, yes, I know there's more efficient ways to fill in color, but what if I told you I just like coloring it in? It's a little Starfire moment right here. Like I said, I'm always experimenting with colors, so I change it a lot. You will always see me using the change color drawing tool. I love just experimenting with what colors will look best with the drawing that I'm doing. Then I move on to highlights, and when I added the little white parts in her hair, it kind of reminded me of peppermint, and I wanted to make the theme of the drawing peppermint, but I don't think there's a such thing as a peppermint cupcake, and that would probably be disgusting. The green parts you see are a technique, I forgot the name of it, but basically it's where you put the complementary color of the main color on top of the highlights. Speaking of highlights, I think I had been looking at a lot of cartoon art, so I really wanted to try blocky highlights. So that's what I'm doing here on the right. The left is the time lapse, and you can see me just tweaking with colors. I think that like 90% of my process is literally just tweaking colors. I also add a lot of overlays in this part, and sometimes I think I just add stuff to add stuff because sometimes you never even see it, but I just like doing it. Now to the easiest part. I think clothes and my style are really straightforward. I just add colors and then add highlights and shadows, and I use the same technique that I use in the hair for like clothes and highlights. I always just take the complementary color and put it on top of the highlight. So this part of my process is the easiest. And if the drawing is really simple, then we're done by now. But if you have accessories and other things to color in, then it's going to take longer. I love rendering food because you can just watch it come to life. When I'm rendering sweets, like my brain is on autopilot. I couldn't even tell you what I do. other than I just try to make it look appealing as possible. I make the chocolate look very shiny, and I make the fruits look very like sparkly or juicy sometimes. And honestly, rendering fruit is like my favorite part of any process. Even if I don't draw some sort of like dessert, which is really rare, I always find something that I just render extensively for no reason. I still use my carving technique even for the desserts and stuff like that. I kind of just do whatever I want to do. And I also add foils and overlays. Overlays are like my second favorite thing to do. So for like the strawberries, when I add the little seeds, I like overlay it with gold foil for some reason. It makes no sense, but it looks cool, so I'm gonna do it. I add highlights to any piece of fruit to make them look juicier, and I add deeper shadows to make the dessert look like it has more and more depth. And from there, I just clean up and nitpick everything, because technically I could be done right now, but I just do extra things because I like to. This is more footage of me finishing the final touches on the cupcake, which is really just figuring out the wrapper and adding more and more gold foil. I love gold foil for some reason. I didn't record any more footage after this, but after I just added the background and do some titles and stuff like that. I don't do that for every piece, but in pieces where I feel like I need it, I do it. And it's pretty fun. I just use unique brushes and experiment with things that I think would look cool. I also did her jewelry and her nails and added darker lines on her face to define her features more. So to recap, we started with a messy undersketch, and that turned into a clean line art. I used the carving technique to achieve this. Then we had rendered skin and base colored hair. Then we added different colors and different type of highlights to the hair, making it fully rendered. Then we did my favorite part, which was rendering the food. Then we added our last details like nails and jewelry, and even a background if we wanted to. And all of that leaves me with my final piece of art. I hope you enjoyed this process video, and if there's any more videos you guys want, please leave it in the comments down below.